Okay, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to cut right through the futuristic hype and all those corporate buzzwords surrounding the metaverse. When we strip all of that away, what are we actually left with? Well, we're going to explore this digital frontier together by looking at three massive pillars: its promise for society, the incredibly messy web of digital property rights, and the very real psychological impact it's having on young minds.
So, right off the bat, we have to ask ourselves, is this new world a utopia for human connection? Is it a legal nightmare? Or is it basically just a massive psychological experiment? The fascinating truth is, it's kind of all three. It's this wild space where the physical and virtual dimensions merge, creating totally new ways to work, socialize, and entertain ourselves. But before we can actually judge its impact, we really need to understand how it's built. It basically boils down to three distinct flavors. It's not just one big thing. First up, we've got augmented reality. This layers networked information right onto the real physical world, using apps like Zepeto. Then we have mirror worlds. Think of these as virtual reflections of our actual reality, digital sandboxes like Minecraft or Upland. And finally, there's virtual reality, which is that complete digital immersion where you feel entirely enclosed in another world, navigating platforms like Decentraland or Roblox.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. 1. Bridging the digital divide. 2. The virtual Wild West. 3. Ownership versus licensing. And 4. Impact on the teenage mind.
Section 1, Bridging the Digital Divide. It's super easy to look at the metaverse as just some exclusive playground for tech bros, but there's actually a profound movement trying to use these virtual spaces to bridge the gap that usually leaves low-income communities, the elderly, and rural populations totally behind. But here's the catch. Before this tech can help anyone, we absolutely must establish two foundational pillars. Right now, a VR headset can cost as much as a high-end laptop. Without governments and tech giants teaming up to invest in high-capacity networks, especially out in rural areas, and without developing truly affordable devices, this new frontier is going to become an exclusionary club that just makes existing inequalities way worse. Once we actually get that infrastructure in place, though, the possibilities are incredible. Immersive environments could radically democratize education and culture for folks who are isolated or low income. Just imagine virtual classrooms where a student in a remote village gets the exact same high-quality lesson as someone in New York City. Or picture wandering through global museums, looking at priceless art without spending a dime on a plane ticket. It literally shatters the barriers of space and time.
And it's not just about learning, it's about earning. What's super fascinating is that these emerging careers don't always require traditional college degrees. The demand for totally new roles, like virtual community moderators, digital store sales assistants, or designers of immersive experiences, is absolutely skyrocketing. This is a game changer for vulnerable populations, allowing them to pick up highly marketable skills right from their living rooms. And hey, this isn't just for the kids. Look at initiatives like the Reconnect Hadas workshops. They are actively teaching the elderly how to navigate these virtual spaces on their own. Run by Foundation Telefonica, these free in-person workshops give older folks the exact tools they need to stay connected in an increasingly digital world. It's just a brilliant, heartwarming example of intentional inclusion.
Moving on to Section 2, the virtual Wild West. Okay, let's shift gears from the utopian dreams to the gritty reality and ask, if this is a brand new world, who exactly is policing it? Because right now, the explosive growth of this space is causing a massive headache for intellectual property law. We are in an environment where a digital asset can be infinitely copied, tweaked, and shared across global borders in seconds. Our current legal frameworks are basically sweating, trying to keep up with this decentralized, endlessly replicable realm. Copyrights are supposed to protect original digital creations, right? But when anyone can easily modify an avatar, ownership gets super blurry. Meanwhile, massive brands like Nike and Gucci are rushing to secure digital trademarks to stop counterfeit virtual sneakers from flooding the market, which sounds ridiculous until you realize the actual millions being spent on them. And patents? That's a fierce battleground for the physical VR and AR hardware powering the whole shebang. Section 3, Ownership versus Licensing. This is where things get a little tricky, because there's a massive illusion going on. There is a huge discrepancy between what you think you own and what you actually own. With billions flowing into virtual real estate and digital goods, we really need to read the fine print. Listen, if you've ever bought a virtual shirt on a platform like Roblox, you need to hear this. You are fundamentally just paying for conditional access. You don't truly own it.
In the real world, you buy a jacket, it hangs in your closet. You can sell it, burn it, whatever. But digitally, you're getting a license dictated by a platform's terms of service. If that platform changes its rules, bans you, or just goes bankrupt, poof, your digital asset is gone forever. And you literally can't just slap a digital art label on something to dodge real-world laws. We actually saw this proven in a landmark lawsuit between Hermes and the creator of Meta Birkins, which are basically virtual fuzzy versions of those famous crazy expensive handbags. Hermes sued, saying it violated their trademark and confused buyers. And the court sided with Hermes. This set a massive legal precedent for enforcing physical world rights out in the digital frontier. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about NFTs? Well, while NFTs are great for securely tracking ownership and verifying authenticity, here is the absolute crucial point. Owning the token does not automatically mean you own the underlying intellectual property of the art itself. Having the NFT is like holding a digital receipt. You own the receipt, sure, but the original creator usually still holds the exclusive copyright to the actual artwork. It's a critical distinction that so many buyers get completely wrong. All right, our final section, number 4, impact on the teenage mind. Let's bring this all back down to the human element. We've talked about the tech and the laws, but what is actually happening when a whole generation spends hours every single day totally immersed in a reality without any physical interaction? We've got some recent data here using the social interaction anxiety scale, and the split is honestly wild. Out of 100 teens surveyed, 43% experienced a spike in social anxiety after using metaverse apps, but 41% actually saw a decrease. It's an incredibly polarizing, almost 50-50 split that tells us something really deep is going on here. So we have this crazy paradox. For the 41% who felt better, the virtual world acted like a safe training ground. They built up their social confidence from the safety of an avatar and were able to bring that newfound confidence into the real world. But for the 43% who got worse, they got so comfortable in that tightly controlled virtual environment that the messy unpredictability of face-to-face physical interaction became deeply triggering. But look what happens when we factor in time. The data shows a stark, direct correlation. If a teenager is playing 1 to 3 hours a week, the rate of increased anxiety is about 36%. But if they're in there for 7 to 10 hours a week, a massive 71% of those teens report heightened distress in real-world social situations. The reality is, prolonged daily exposure to a purely digital world is fun. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. How on earth do we balance this incredible digital innovation with the desperate need for regulation and, frankly, our own mental well-being? We've seen that the metaverse holds this beautiful promise to democratize education and connect us, but it's built on a very shaky foundation of unresolved legal rights, and it's throwing a major psychological curveball at the next generation. As we keep building this new frontier, we really have to ask ourselves, what kind of world are we actually designing here, and are we truly ready for it? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the world around you, physical or virtual.